So let's just settle into our meditation posture. Now we're 8 minutes late starting, so I'll finish 8 minutes to 10 your time. I mean, not 8 minutes to 10, almost 20 minutes to 10. So just try and allow yourself to land. And just check your legs first of all. So if you're sitting at a desk and your feet are down, make sure they're in a parallel position. Try not to cross your ankles. I mean, it's a habit I do at a desk, but it's not great for the spine, definitely not great for allowing the energy to flow when you're sitting in meditation. And so other than that, if you're in the regular cross-legged position, you can have your sits bones supported by something quite firm. So, one of those zafus that you see in all the gompas, that's quite a good thing. It's also quite high, it can be between 4 inches. That helps to relieve some of the pressure on the knees and the hips. So hands in the meditation mudra, right hand nestled in the left with the thumbs touching. And just imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up to the crown of the head and beyond, out. And imagine somebody is lengthening your spine very gently. Shoulders are over the hips, and just imagine someone's pulling you up by your ears. So lifting your head, stretching your head off your neck very gently, gliding your head back to align with your shoulders. Got little Mr. Spock ears. The head is slightly tipped forward, the eyes are down, looking along the length of the nose, if they were open, tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth, and relax the jaw. And bring the mind to the breath. Notice the sensation of the air as you're breathing in. It's a little bit cooler than the air you're exhaling. So we have an interesting relationship with sound. And when we're meditating, you might notice that your mind will get very happily and quite easily distracted by pretty much anything. But sound, just notice if there are any sounds in your environment. And what is your mind doing with that sound? What sounds draw your attention? Are they sounds you like? Or are they sounds that are disturbing and cause aversion in the mind and you try to push it away? So just notice how you are noticing that sound. And then allow the sound to fade into the background. A bit like Shayla's background on her Zoom, just kind of blurs out. And then you can bring your attention back to your breath. Now allow your thoughts to arise, to abide, and to fall. And try not to engage with your thoughts. Just allow them. Try not to judge. And bring the mind back to the breath. So let's bring to mind all the people of our life, our loved ones, the ones who we kind of adore and we support and they support us, and we can turn to them, tell them our problems, say, help us with our projects. They're there for us when we need them, kind of like family, extended family. We love them. They're in our mind all the time. Our hearts are open to these people. We'd do anything for them. And then there's the ones that, we have aversion for these people. They've probably harmed us, or we find them irritating. We just know to keep away. And then there's those people that we are completely indifferent to. They are strangers. We don't know their name. We might see them every day, but we don't really know much about them. So one thing that would be really good to remind ourselves of, as my dear friend Venerable Sema, who is working in India right now at Root Institute, she's the sister of Yangtze Rinpoche. She was telling me last night that one of the monks who was helping distribute the food to the poor and the villagers around there was involved in a motorcycle accident. He's not very old. And because it's India and they don't have very good medical there, and also he wasn't wearing a helmet. He hit his head, fell off, they had an accident, fell off his bike, and he passed away. So, you know, these kinds of things happen. We never think. And there's photos of him that same day, handing out the food, distributing, organizing the money, etc., etc., all the papers. So, you know, we need to appreciate those we love, because things could change. And then these friends, these enemies, and these strangers, they can change place at any time in your mind. The karma can change. The relationships can change. And one day the most beautiful person in the world becomes just a source of aversion for you. Things that they do are no longer cute. They're like boring. So things change. It's good to be aware of that. Anyway, we're doing a meditation on equanimity here, just a very tiny baby one. So just imagine we should really have equal concern for all these groups of people, despite how we feel about them, because they all have this tremendous wish to be happy, to find happiness, and to be free from any kind of problems or suffering or illness. And they all have this unbelievable capacity for this brilliant, amazing mind that we all have. So I think we're doing this meditation this evening for all the people of our life, and by extension, all sentient beings, particularly those beings in Ukraine who's suffering considerably right now. Okay, so I think there is no negativity that cannot be purified, and this purification is basically a psychological one. We create negativity with our mind. We're going to counteract that, creating positivity instead. So we purify, applying the four opponent powers. So the first of these is the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being today, in this life, and in all past lives. And think specifically of actions of both your body and your speech, then in general regret. Or the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. We experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. Having harmed others, we will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of future suffering. So logically, it would make sense to pull out these karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us, or problems, or obstacles, whatever. And think, I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret our delusions, our anger, our jealousy, our attachment, and the rest of the cause of why we harm others, and with our body and our speech. And again, think, I'm sick of this suffering. So what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. We rely upon, we turn to the Buddha, the doctor, who has the methods that we can use to purify. It's not that we need the Buddha to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his methods, his medicine. So visualize Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can imagine he's your guru manifesting in this aspect for your benefit. He's made of radiant, blissful, white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. And this lotus, although born out of mud, is untainted by that mud, similar to our enlightened potential, born out of our delusions, yet untainted by them. And he has this beautiful, radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for us. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. And he has a 5-pointed crown on his head and all kinds of jewelry on his body. Beautiful, glistening, sparkling. He's wearing earrings and necklaces and armlets and bracelets and a beautiful belt and anklets. He's wearing these beautiful silken clothes in the Royal Indian style, which is kind of also made of light, floating in the wind, billowing. And then he has an aura around his head and around his body. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom. The right is holding a vajra, which represents indestructibility of compassion. Their being crossed represents the union of these two, which symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. And think particularly of people you've harmed recently. And just think of developing a compassionate mind towards them. And then think of the people who have harmed you. And I know it's a little bit more difficult to feel compassion towards them for the harm they've caused you, but why we would feel compassion towards them is because the harm they've caused you is going to manifest for them as suffering in the future. So develop compassion because of that, and then make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings. And think, I must purify for their sake. So next we come to the power remedy, which is the medicine, doing the practice of purification. So I think purification of the body. Guru Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And this arcs around and enters your crown, filling you, pours into your body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you and forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you have ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left. You just feel completely purified as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasiti Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sitsame Siddham Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasiti Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sitsame Siddham Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasiti Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sitsame Siddham Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasiti Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sitsame Siddham Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Duda Mebawa, Sutokaya Mebawa, Supokaya Mebawa, Anarakta Mebawa, Sawasidi Mempeyata Sawa Kama Sitame, Sudam Shriyam Kuruhum, ha 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 ho, Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa, Mahasamaya Satva A Hum Pe, Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Duda Mebawa, Sutokaya Mebawa, Supokaya Mebawa, Anarakta Mebawa, Sawasidi Mempeyata Sawa Kama Sitame, Sudam Shriyam Kuruhum Ho Bhagawan Savatata Gata Vajramame Muzza Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Subakaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sudam Shriyam Kuruhum Ho Bhagawan Savatata Gata Vajramame Muzza Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is completely purified, and think there is no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. So just think as soon as anybody sees you or smells you, senses you, completely benefits their mind, makes them happy. So next is a purification of the speech. And again, Guru Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and forcefully enters your crown, quite strongly enters your crown, filling your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech. And this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So you can imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and the lying and talking badly about others behind their backs, getting other people to agree with you. All of this is purified by this kind of nectar filling you and pushing out through the top parts of your body. All the negativity of your speech disappears into space as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempeyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sidam Shriyam Kuruhum Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempeyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sidam Shriyam Kuruhum Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempeyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempeyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempeyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sidam Shriyam Kuruhum Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempeyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Duda Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempeyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sidam Shriyam Kuruhum Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. So I feel so happy your speech is purified. And imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. And the next is a purification of the mind. And Guru Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown, fills you completely. So it's the same as when we walk into a dark room, switch on a light, that light instantly dispels the darkness, doesn't it? So it's the same here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart touches your heart, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, all of our attachment and grasping and neediness and anger, jealousy and bitterness and grudges, wishing to harm, disappointments, all of this completely dispelled instantly by the light and the recitation of the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempiyatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempiyatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempiyatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempiyatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempiyatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempiyatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempiyatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, or all of our delusions, which are the source of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are totally purified, gone. And think now, there is no space in your heart for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So next is the purification of the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And this time, imagine Vajrasattva sends light and nectar. And you can imagine, if you wish, we do a couple of mantras each for the visualization of the body, of the speech, and of the mind. And if that's too busy for you, you can just imagine light and nectar just pouring into you and eradicating even the subtlest, tiniest imprint of negative energy from your mind as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempiyatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempiyatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mempiyatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mepiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mepiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mepiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mepiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe. Now feel completely purified. Not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to omniscience have been removed. And so next we come to the fourth step, the power of resolve. And this is a really crucial step in this process. You know, we just make a decision, we decide to not harm. I mean, we decide many things. I decide I'm going to get up in the morning. I decide I'm going to have a shower. We can decide I'm going to have a cup of tea. We can equally decide I'm going to start thinking about refraining from harming and to start thinking about refraining from some of these habits that are harmful to myself and others. It's quite a courageous step. So for those of you who've been doing this for quite some time now, more than a year, been doing this together, really rejoice in your efforts. And take some time to think back to where you were when we first started and have things changed, and rejoice, no matter how small the shift. And no matter how many times you've taken a couple of steps back and then moved a couple of steps forward, it's just the way it is. We're human and we have habits, and it's a bit of karma involved there as well. So just think of something that you'd like to work on between now and tomorrow. I think I'll refrain from this thing from 30 seconds or 5 seconds or 1 second or overnight while I'm sleeping. And just guard your mind and rejoice in your ability to be able to do that, and the fact that you've been able to come here tonight and devote this much time to your practice. It's fantastic that you made the effort to come. It's wonderful. Okay, so next, Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wanting to merge with your mind, melts into light and absorbs into you through your crown, and think my Guru's body, speech, and mind. Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same thing. And LAMA YESHE used to call this union oneness. And Rinpoche recommends now to meditate on the emptiness of the three circles. In emptiness, there is no I, the creative negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So just place your mind, at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while and think of all phenomena as being empty. You can think they do not exist from their own side. You can think of things as being dependent arisings, cause and effect. We all understand that. And then think perhaps the way things appear to be may not necessarily be the way they exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created this evening doing this purification to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And let's chant this one, shall we? If we don't do that, we'll chant it. Tub shu chang shin jam gon Galloway, Tenzin kyong pel wei kunza dog porze, shog sum kur wei leg mon tu dru, pa dog sog du je gon du shab ten shog. Lama Ursel, Venerable One, to you whose kindness exceeds that of all the conquerors, for those wanderers in far-off places, especially the West, mindful of your loving concern for us and intentionally descending again into a family of a far distant land, we make this request. O Lama, please, please live long. And for Geshe Cherub, what happened? I don't know it off by heart. Is it not there? That's okay. We just make strong prayers for Geshe Cherub to have a long and happy life. It's okay, Mary, it really is fine. I know, it disappeared, just like the link on the website. I've had so many technical problems today. Yeah, anyway. Thank you so much for your patience, everyone. Thank you for coming, and lots of love. And I'll see some of you tomorrow morning, I hope, nice and early for me. And you'll be pleased to know it's been really cold here today. It's 47 degrees right now and it's nighttime. So